Hello there, and welcome to Just Cause 3. Just Cause 3 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. It is everything you could ever want in a sandbox game. It has a massive arsenal of weapons and vehicles that you can call at any time, a rocket-powered wingsuit that has a full auto shoulder gun. Physics was dumb anyway. Now I've bought this game several times, and on my PlayStation alone, I have probably upwards of 400 hours in the game.
The problem.
In my 400 plus hours of Just Cause 3, I have not once fully completed the game.
The solution.
Instead of booting up the PlayStation and loading the 98% save file I have there, I will create a new game on my desktop, boot up Streamlabs, and 100% the game once and for all in under 24 hours. Or at least that's the plan. Now I knew going into this that people before me have created very good routes that save them hours of time on their runs. However, I wasn't going to use them. You see, I thought with my hundreds of hours of playtime in the game, I was fully equipped with all the knowledge on how to beat the game very fast. However, even though I didn't have a route, so to speak, I did have a couple very broad checkpoints, as well as a strategy for liberating and completing missions as fast as possible. Just blowing up the town. If it had missions, do them. Now that I had my layout, I decided it'd be best to start this challenge around 10 at night. Sounds like a decent plan. The only problem is that I'd be starting having already gone through a whole day of college, drove home, forgot things at college, drove back, returned home, and had been chilling for a while on the couch while waiting till 10 PM. Within no time, it had turned 10, and I pushed live on what would end up being the biggest blow to my sleep schedule in a long time. Starting off the run, I felt that I had been doing pretty good, other than the fact that in the first mission, I managed to make the truck from the opening car chase turn into a very broken truck from the opening car chase. After that, I flew the helicopter over to the minigun section, where you sit on a roof and wait for people to drive at you. So at this point, I should probably mention, I'm using a controller. If you were planning on asking why, I don't really have an answer for you, and you should probably forget I told you this. A few minutes later, I acquired a new grappling hook and my wingsuit was installed. All I had to do now was use the wingsuit.
What if I did?
Nice. Next, I blew up the bridge, hacked the SAMs, and liberated Minea fairly quickly. It was here I planned on chopping a good majority of the game's casual streetcars and boats. However, before the run began, I decided it'd be nice to have a couple of my friends in the call with me. This was a mistake. After unlocking the garage and chopping about 6 cars and 0 boats, I then continued doing story missions until the first big broad checkpoint showed up. And while doing the sky base, my friends had begun talking about Russia's modern army.
Apparently, there's like the T-80 Terminator tank or whatever in Ukraine. And this is like a very rare type of the T-80, which is an already rare tank. One of them just got blown up in Ukraine.
Is it that good of a tank then?
It's mid.
Is there 5 of them because it's expensive or because it just wasn't that good?
Yes, the T-80 was Russia's idea of, let's throw money at it and solve our problems.
Oh Jesus, what the fuck is this thing? I just googled it.
Yeah, no, it's awful.
Getting back on topic, I finished the first mission in the sky base, forgot that there were 2 places that I would need to liberate, very far north, and left to continue my run. From here, I would begin my mission of completing the entire province, missions and all, before moving to the main island. However, one thing I had on my mind was the bomber plane, a tool which I had believed to be necessary for liberating most bases and completing air race challenges. However, since I didn't plan ahead, I actually had no clue on where to unlock it, and since I didn't really know how to steal one during the rebel drop, I was left to use whatever military helicopter the DRM would send at me. For the next few hours, everything was going good. Surprisingly, my original idea of having played the game for a long time and winging it seemed to be working. Most of the challenges were also going smoothly as well. First trying some, and second trying most others. Now since these challenges were going well, and I was doing too well, I came across one challenge that did not want me to continue. This Daredevil sprint did not want me to continue playing this game. My bike would spin out, hit some rocks and bounce off the course, or get hit by a car. However, these were all simply skill issues. Apparently, trying to function at 2 in the morning is difficult? I don't know. But the biggest problem with this course, when you get to the final straight stretch of the course, there's a jump that, on my first run, had a gate.
Yeah, I
After finally not suffering a skill issue again, I made my way back to the jump. And then, this happened.
I'm gonna try it.
Now don't. It happened again. Yes, upon further review, I had done absolutely nothing wrong. The ground had simply decided to eat my bike for a moment, spit it back out, and send me and the bike flying in separate directions. After settling down, I went back for attempt number 2. At this point, I was confused on why I was unable to do this jump, so I tried a different bike to see if that was the problem. After getting back to the jump, I flew off, and this happened. So yes, the default bike that is selected for you at this challenge is in fact unable to actually complete the challenge within the time allowed. Thank you Just Cause 3, very cool. I continued doing more challenges and liberated a town or two before my game decided it was time to stop. Luckily no progress was lost, and I just continued going. I still thought that having any kind of jet at this point would be the key to going faster. However, I still didn't know where to unlock them from, and I wasn't having any luck finding them in the wild yet. Not going faster meant the tiredness was allowed to continue. And since my friends left me, since it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, my boredom began to increase as well. During the mission Missile Cowboy, you start at one base, fly to a transmitter, hack the transmitter so it comes out of its hidey hole, then you either throw a grenade or fire a rocket at it, and now the missile won't launch. Suddenly, there's a massive battle going on, and we need to go help. So I jumped off the cliff, flew down to the town of Babika, and found that there were 3 U-boats with cars that didn't need a boat to float. Like any normal person, I just used the wingsuit's gun to blow them up. Unfortunately, the boats decided to use their last ounce of power after blowing up to give the cars they were holding invincibility. Just the vehicle, however, the people inside died. See, the game didn't care, however, and wanted me to destroy the vehicle, which, as you can see, is impossible. So I had to reset and let the craft land the vehicles first, before providing wingsuit close air support, turning their vehicle into metal spaghetti. After dismounting the rocket, I returned to the airbase to upgrade my wingsuit. With absolutely no problem doing this at all, I did another mission, this time the end of it bringing me back to the rebel base, where I did a shooting range challenge, failed a boat race, and decided it was time to do the super boat heist, where you will stand on a plane for a very long time and do nothing else. For some reason, I thought it'd be fun to press A, making Rico think now is the perfect time to do a backflip off the back of the plane and fail the mission. Once I reached the big plane, Christian, another friend of mine who I had forgotten joined the call, fell asleep on the mic. I removed him from the call and slowly drove the fastest boat in the game all the way back. Turns out that the sea heist is the slowest part of the game, because it seemed like all you had to do was either stand on this vehicle, now drive this vehicle a long way, now go another long way, do something, and then go another long way. This wasn't very good, because it was now approaching the 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning region, and I was very tired. And now, very bored. Now, having anything happen that would set me back would only increase the amount I didn't want to do this anymore. Stress was now building anytime I want to do something, and it can be traced all the way back to this moment when the generator from the sea heist continued to stretch my ropes so far down that I couldn't see it anymore. Since I didn't really want to do the sea heist at this point, I put off finishing it for a little while and decided to finish the air missions. This, however, required me to go deep into the main island, where I had no progress whatsoever. I then flew back to the airbase, blew up more things, and finished the DLC. At this point, I was getting frustrated with how slow I was actually getting things done, and threw in the towel on waiting on just randomly getting the bomber plane. So I paused for a moment, searched on where it was. Turns out, you unlock it in your Rebel Drop menu after clearing out this base, which happened to be very far into uncleared territory. Except this was not the base I should have liberated. I destroyed the wrong one of 2 air bases in the entire game. Turns out the base I was supposed to go to was even further north and quite literally on the opposite side of the map than where I needed to be. I told myself this was fine since now I have the other fighter jet at my disposal in case I lost the bomber. So I flew out to the correct base this time and unlocked the bomber. Even though I now had this magnificent creature in my arsenal, my morale was at an all-time low. So I decided to continue the slowest DLC mission. Now these outposts were annoying, because if you used a helicopter, other helicopters would kill you. If you used a plane, it would take too long because of how far apart everything was, so I just used the wingsuit, finishing the DLC in about an hour. At this point, the stress and annoyance of messing things up continued to haunt me. While I was now liberating bases at a much faster rate, it was now 7 in the morning. I was so tired and fed up with how annoying this game can be at times, that I knew it would take one more small, annoying, or stupid thing for me to fold. I missed my friends. I started this run thinking I could make it at least 10 hours without them, so that they could cheer me on all the way to the finish line. However, it was looking like I was going to be failing before they even woke back up. I began destroying more towns and bases, trying my absolute best to make a bigger dent in the percentage completed. Just when it seemed like I was getting into my groove, this happened. So, after liberating the entire province, I began to collect some collectibles, realized how far in the game I was, stood on a hill, and contemplated my life. As I stared down at the bright blue abyss, I wasn't sure what I wanted. But I think it's not this. My comrades weren't here to tell me to forge on. So I closed the game. All my progress was gone.